should be ready to go for picks and bans for game number 2. And as we mentioned, we're getting towards the later stages of the summer split. These points are absolutely crucial. AI really needs to find this split here if they want to keep their hopes alive.
If they don't find the split here, I'm not sure if they're still in the running, actually, but either way, they need to still play for everything that they have here. They could still play spoiler for a lot of their future sets here. They still have one more set to go on Sunday, and then the last final set for Week 5.
And remember, like we mentioned, this is a team that has a lot of new moving pieces. I don't know what their expectations are, but wouldn't be surprised if they just came out and said, you know, we know that this was going to be an uphill battle. We're waiting until the fall split to really turn it on, because that's when it really matters. I mean, everyone wants to go to DreamHack Valencia. I mean, who doesn't? But it's really about qualifying for Worlds in the end.
Obviously, these teams, they have their eyes on the prize at the end of the road, but there's a lot of steps in the road before you get to there, before Worlds. So having to go through these bumps and bruises for both teams, obviously, because there was a little bit of sloppiness as well coming out of Trifecta in that last game between Hurriwind going into the Serqet, but not connecting on some of his abilities there, and then getting picked off in the backline as a result of that. Could be a little bit cleaner.
Trifecta, again, very similar bans to game number 1. In fact, the exact same two, Osiris and Susano, whereas Team AI, they ban away the Morrigan this time around. I like that, but that leaves open that soul for Trifecta. Was banned away by AI last time around, and now they're first picking it when they have the opportunity.
Showing where their cards truly lie here. Prioritizing this soul more than likely for Snoopy. Could still go to Hurriwind, but best now taking this Scylla very early in the draft before they first picked Morrigan, but despite it was actually Trifecta that first picked that Morrigan last time around. But now they need some setup for the best here. They need to make sure that he gets confirmed damage.
I like this Geb pick. Aror, very comfortable on this god. Even though we usually think of Aror as one of the more aggressive supports, Geb, he plays to a very, very high level. And so does Eonic. We saw it last time, and he was very difficult to deal with for Team AI. So this time they're going to take it away for themselves. So the support's basically just going to swap here. Terra the pick for Trifecta, though again, that could be in the solo lane for Kiki, but while he likes to play some different things, I don't know if I would like him on the Terra necessarily.
When I think of Kiki playing solo, I think of him being more utility-based. Obviously, playing that Odin the last game shows it all. He's just basically an old bot. Granted, he does a lot of damage with a bird bomb, but his main goal is to force the team to build a Phantom. You force a soul leader to build a Phantom, then now he's not going to have, you know, whether it's Thorns, whether it's the Sunder, Bracer of Undoing, whatever the case is, making him less tanky. And that's the crucial moment for Kiki to be able to get a slight edge over Divios.
Naja again for Cynosure in the jungle. He played great on it in game 1, but a little bit harder to play it into the Geb. Geb basically the worst possible target for Naja to ult at any given time because of Geb's passive, as well as that shield can really prevent a lot of those ultimates from the Sash combination whenever the purification beads are down. XenoTronics going for a little bit of a different look this time around, the Hu Yi, and I like this. I mean, the Cernunnos wasn't awful, but it wasn't, you know, stellar either. Just trying to switch it up a little bit and go something a little bit more towards his play style.
And you were talking about the anti-crit coming out of Geb that receives 25% damage from those crits. Well, Hu Yi, he can't get crit for 3 seconds after the first crit. So still looking like they want to make sure that Naja is not going to have the easiest road.
Absolutely. I mean, if Cynosure is building any crit, that Sash can crit as well, so it prevents that one-shot capability without the ultimate that Naja can be so strong with. Like that selection for Team AI's new Hunter. Rom going to be taken off the board by AI, not wanting to give that to Snoopy. So AI not convinced that that soul is not for Hurriwind in the mid lane.
Hurriwind can also probably play Rama in the mid lane if necessary. He's dabbled in Hunters before. Back in the beginning of Season 3 when he was on the same team as Homie Efe, they had a nice little lane combination of Uller for mid and then Ao Kwang in that jungle role. And Hurriwind was hitting some nasty shots all the time, so you still have to respect his Hunter capabilities.
Hurriwind's played Apollo mid, he's played Rom mid. I mean, he's tried it all basically in that mid lane, and I think the Morrigan's perfect for him, because if he's like, man, I really want to play Hunter, just play the Morrigan, you still got your magical damage, and then you could turn into a Hunter at any time, whenever you want. Serqet banned by Trifecta, AI gonna take that Cernunnos off the board, so doubling down on the Hunter bans. Hurriwind's also played that Hunter in the mid lane, so you never know exactly who AI is looking to take it away from, but they just don't want to see it.
I personally like Cernunnos better in the dual lane instead because he transitions a little bit better in the team fights anyway. He does have good jungle control for that wild hunt, but honestly, he's a little bit more efficient with the items online anyway. Bellona is going to be that last ban for Trifecta, really respecting that AI could still bring this out.
Yeah, I like that ban from Trifecta in that scenario. I mean, Divios looked good on the Hercules. He made a couple big plays and wouldn't, by any stretch, mind seeing him go back to it here in game number 2. But Bellona, as we mentioned, even with the death toll nerfs, teams are, I think there's one of those times where she might not be a top-tier solo laner anymore, but teams are like, we don't even want to find out. We don't want to deal with that.
True.
We're just going to assume she's still good and just ban her away anyways.
I mean, this is just their nightmares, right? That they can't wake up from. They see a Bellona or a Cyrus in their lane. Well, now they're going to be seeing a Robin anyway. So you can't necessarily ban out all these solo laners and expect to still have to survive against some of these backline penetrators here. Robin will still do a great job, similar to the Bellona or Cyrus that was banned out.
Apollo, and who knows where that's going for Trifecta. Again, could be Hurriwind in the mid lane on the Soul or the Apollo, waiting on their final selection. AI, that Robin likely for Divios, though still could be in the jungle for Elchapo, kind of waiting to see there. But again, Kiki going back to the Odin, so Trifecta, for the large part, staying pretty similar. Naja, Apollo, Odin all the same, trading the Terra for that Geb, this time taking Soul as well.
Now, knowing Trifecta and how they prepare for games, though, I'm expecting a little bit of a different start this time around. I don't expect Kiki to do the same thing 2 games in a row by invading the purple minions. I think he's going to mix things up. I wouldn't actually be surprised if he just stays in the solo lane and looks to steal away maybe even the blue ogres instead.
Ooh, a Willish for Team AI. Really try to shut down that Odin jump. Interesting selection, holding it until the very last one there. Good plays out of them, ready to go in-game here between Team AI and Trifecta. Trifecta looking to secure the Trifecta in points. 3 points here if they can find the 2-0 victory.
And I'm really surprised that it wasn't Trifecta that went for the Willish themselves, because Cynosure really likes this kind of a style to go for these early game gods to be able to make those highlight plays. And considering that Scylla was first picked coming out of AI, it wouldn't be a bad idea to go for that.
I agree. Did Best just lay down a crush and
He's
walk
proxying.
away?
This is like the beginning of Season 4 style to be able to start the lane at an advantage. Now, he doesn't necessarily clear the way, but he damages it, and to be able to rotate. I actually do a similar strategy like this in the solo lane. If I'm playing Vamana, I'll just proxy between Phoenix and Tier 2, throw out the Umbrella Ring, and then go back to the lane, and it's already at half health.
Wow, the wave's already cleared. I mean, Best and the rest of his team, it was Team Eager at that time at last year's Worlds, experimented with this with Anubis. I mean, they were always willing to pull something out. This time, really getting an interesting strategy, and it allows Chapo and Divios to find the invade onto the enemy speed. Kiki did end up doing the exact same sort of strategy and teleports back to that solo lane, but already ate about half HP in return. And this time, AI did not get a chance to invade the enemy blue. This time they do. Both buffs on the right-hand side go Team AI's way.
Now, this is a completely different story for Kiki. He did the same strategy, but AI adapted, and they punished him for it. Now sitting at level 1 here without a blue buff, without teleport. I was telling you, if Odin gets behind early without his teleport active for these 3 minutes, he could get easily punished, and this is where Divios can start to snowball.
Cynosure forced into the beads there by TheBest. No Sentinel for TheBest, went for the aggressive Sikkim option at level 2. It ends up paying off. Cynosure not going to have his purification beads now, but it was Trifecta able to find that speed buff invade for the time being, so at least they do get 1 buff on that right-hand side.
Left-hand side, though, we're seeing Trifecta start off the Oracles, still looking to balance out these neutral objectives in their favor. Despite losing the speed and the blue, they're able to at least control some vision on the left-hand side. Unfortunately, if they're on the left side, they have to concede stuff on the right.
Exactly right, and those fire elementals are going to go down in favor of Team AI. Xeno elects to go for poke in that scenario, instead of using that Ricochet to clear the wave, though I don't know if they would have gotten wave control anyways with Eonic and Snoopy both being level 4. That's plenty of damage to clear the wave.
And the reason why they're level 4 is because of what Kiki was able to build for this dual lane here. We talked about Kiki being this utility player. Well, not only is he going to be playing utility gods, having a utility build, but he's going to start off the game at a deficit on purpose to ensure his carry, Snoopy, to get off to a great start.
Big shield there from Aror against XenoTronics out of danger for the time being after a good stun from Eonic. This duo lane for Trifecta really controlling things so far.
And we didn't really talk about this the last game, but I noticed Snoopy also went for this Bumba's Mask to start things off, and this really will help you clear so quickly inside that jungle camp. Not only do you have that passive to be able to get the jungle camps even faster, but with that Bumba's Mask for every single in-hand, Apollo's like one of the fastest attacking gods in the beginning of the game with that passive.
Absolutely. Audacity is so strong, and really throughout the entire game, certainly one of the best passives in the game. Kiki forced back early on in this lane, still only level 4. As you mentioned, Snoopy's got a great lead on the left-hand side, but for what they got on the left, they've given up on the right. Kiki pretty far behind, but backs and immediately buys a Swift Wing since he didn't have that teleport. No real extra power on that, but some extra movement speed and gets him back to lane very quickly. I don't think he lost all of that wave.
No, not at all, but it is 800 gold of an investment. It's very expensive. However, it translates rather effectively inside teamfights, considering you get that 5% movement speed to be able to get in a little bit of a closer gap to be able to get that cage off. So Kiki hitting level 5, his job's done. Now he can cage.
That's all he needs. That's all he's needed for it, basically. Chapo and the rest of Team AI do once again find that buff on the right-hand side, because Cynosure's on the left, finds the purification beads out of Xeno, but gives up both the right side buffs in return. Little surprised we haven't seen Chapo on this right-hand side at all. We're trying to find the gravity surge onto Kiki, but maybe that's why Kiki was so far under tower throughout that early game, just knowing that he can't jump the wave at any given time in this matchup.
He just got countered so hard here. This last pick, a Willish coming out of AI, just goes to show that they really are paying attention at every stage of the draft. They picked up Scylla at the early stage here, getting a little bit of setup here with the Geb, but not only that, having the Geb to protect the Scylla, the Geb can also set up this Willish knockup pull combination here. So AI just all across the board covering their options.
Absolutely. And on the other hand, I mean, this is a matchup that most console players know pretty well. Odin very favored by many console pro solo laners, so you know Chapo's ready to go on that one. Divios takes a lot of damage from the tower after getting locked in by Kiki, but no real kills yet.
So much patience out of Kiki, not jumping at any given moment while that ultimate is still available. Chapo getting crit in the facer, but now Kiki could look for a jump considering how far away Chapo was, but you could still use that shield to detonate without the jump. It just takes about 4 seconds.
Cyno still has the ultimate and was very patient with that in that right side jungle. TheBest might be in a bit of trouble here if Cyno decides to play aggressive, but instead opts for the farming route. To be expected. Best the one trying to play aggressive is Cyno's gonna immune that Cataclysm with his sash and then finds the ultimate onto Aror as well. Not a lot of damage from that Windfire Wheels, but it is gonna be enough. First blood goes Trifecta's way after
Snoopy.
A flashy play. Now Snoopy is here.
He's gonna dash on in here without, I'm sorry, he has no mana though, but Divios is gonna be able to Mystic Rush into safety. Great rotation out of Snoopy just to ensure his team would win this team fight. Not having the mana necessary to dash, find the mess that he really needed to, allowing XenoTronics to get some free farm on the left. But man, Cynosure, what a play. Sashing for the CC immunity to prevent the Cataclysm, but not only that, after the fact, he gets the long distance max range Naja ultimate. Granted, it's on a Geb that gets mitigated damage from the crits, but he goes back safely from landing.
Uh-oh, now he's in trouble though. Knock up through the wall is good, but he's gonna be knocked up again. Aurora locks him in place, still gonna be able to find the kill though. Divios puts Team AI on the board. What Naja giveth, Naja taketh away. No escape built in on that jungler.
Not at all. XenoTronics just using that ultimate to clear the wave. He hasn't back to base yet for completing his boots here, whereas Snoopy has had that luxury in his pocket. So I'm assuming that he's not going to really allow XenoTronics any sort of breathing room here, just bullying him out between that tier 1 and tier 2 tower. And look at this, red buff just to respawn for Snoopy's hands.
What a coincidence. Snoopy plays aggressive right as the red is about to respawn. Love this positioning of the wall coming out of Eonic to prevent Xeno from putting any damage onto that red buff. Aurora and Divios are here though. Sprints popped and the focus is onto Eonic for the time being. Divios Jill's trying to chase down the support, where look at Snoopy as he was much farther back, but Eonic still the focus. He's got the purification beads though and uses it on that Cataclysm. Chapo takes a lot of damage from Hurriwind's ultimate.
Cynosure.
And now Cyno's here. Purification beads gets Chapo up, but up goes another member anyways. Cynosure finds another ultimate. Snoopy's gonna be able to secure it. It was Aror who went for the ride. Another beautiful play out of Team Trifecta's jungler.
Divios doesn't have that ultimate. He used it trying to kill Aror, but nobody in position to help out Kiki. The wave was not good enough to take out this resilient solo laner, but Gold Fury was leashed. That's why nobody from Trifecta was there. They want this Gold Fury. They even popped the Terra's Blessing to allow Kiki this opportunity 1v2.
He's gonna fall anyways though because of the ultimate coming out of the best. Snoopy and the rest of Trifecta do get the Gold Fury though, and that's really what they wanted anyways. They're willing to sacrifice a member for that Gold Fury objective, and Team AI again looking pretty strong early on, but Trifecta with the lead regardless.
It just seems that Aurora is the sacrificial lamb for AI, whereas on the flip side, it's Kiki on the side of Trifecta, being punished so heavily for his transgressions, being aggressive in the early laning phase in the dual lane, now without teleport in the early game. There was just non-stop pressure coming out of Chapo, invading the speed and the blue buff, and now getting him caught in a 1v2 spot. Losing the Gold Fury is pretty bad here at the 8.5 minute mark, but AI, they're still keeping relatively a safe distance here in the farming category. Divios is one level ahead of his opposition. The only downside here is Snoopy. He has his 2-level lead.
Yeah, someone needs to come over and help out Xeno on this left-hand side. Don't know if it needs to be Chapo or Roar or maybe even TheBest, but someone needs to relieve some of this pressure that Snoopy is putting on to XenoTronics, because that is the real difference maker thus far. Just as it was in Game 1, Snoopy's really dictated the pace on this dual lane side of the map.
And even with purple buff for XenoTronics, it's just not enough here to be able to take out this level 11 Apollo, who usually consistently obtains this red buff to be able to win these boxing exchanges. Look at this. 2 ships crossing through the sea, just don't really see each other in the dual lane.
No one the wiser. Both hunters playing very far up to clear the wave. Elchapo's in the mid lane as Kiki once more pushed under tower on the right-hand side. Snoopy's going to back after pushing that wave right next to the oppositional tower, while XenoTronics goes for a little bit of a stroll through the jungle to see if we can find anything to take away.
Ooh, that Tier 1 tower on the right-hand side, though. This is what we were talking about, where Kiki gets abused because of the way he started off the game 2 times in a row compared to the last game, getting punished for it. And now Divios allows his team this 500 gold net worth.
Again, the speed buff invade is successful, but despite this, Cynosure is still up a level, even with Elchapo and the rest of AI taking away his speed buff very consistently. XenoTronics trying to secure a red for what feels like the first one since the very first spawning of it. Snoopy and Cyno are still here, looking to play aggressive. Knock up on a Cynosure, use the purification beads, but immediately turns it onto Chapo. Big ultimate once more out of Cyno. Chapo very low, but is going to be able to escape for the time being. Terra's Blessing used by Eonic to make sure that everyone's safe. Xeno gets dashed on by Snoopy. Purification beads gets him out of danger. But no, Cynosure's ring bounce followed Xeno all the way to the back heart piece.
The max distance, and now it's Aurora in a lot of trouble as well. 2 dead on the side of AI. Mid-tier 1 tower could get looked at here. Trifecta are starting to group up, but Kiki, he just cleared out the wave. He's trying to catch up and farm instead. He's going to clear out mid, rotate back to right lane. He's like, all right, guys, I did my job early. It's time for me to worry about me. I'm going to catch up here.
And Trifecta did a great job of keeping AI out of that fight. They wanted that fight to stay at 2v2 because of how strong Snoopy is at this level. Cynosure is going to fall here. I'm a Monster going to get the reset here for TheBest, and Kiki gets pulled back in by Chapo. I'm a Monster second hit not going to hit, but Chapo can't quite find Kiki there, just able to get out of danger. Look at where Snoopy is, right on that tier 1 tower line. No fear out of Trifecta's veteran hunter.
Very short respawn timers. This point in the game, AI was able to make that rotation despite Chapo being able to get out of danger there. Even Aror reviving here to show his presence in that mid game. But despite all that action and chaos madness, because Xeno died in that last encounter, still just now hitting level 11. Snoopy having about a 2 to 2.5 level lead still.
Best gonna hit level 12, get himself a second relic. Certainly much needed at this stage in the game. Once the other team's starting to get second relics, it becomes very difficult to fight into it when you don't have one yourself. But Best able to hit level 12. Xeno still needs to hit level 12 himself, but does show off a nice little ricochet there onto Snoopy, putting some poke onto the enemy hunter.
It might have just poked an angry bear, honestly. Snoopy could look to play aggressive anytime he wants to with his 3-level advantage. The one saving grace for AI is TheBest. Playing this Scylla, he's been able to make the plays happen when he needs to, hitting the Alma monsters, finding the resets here, which actually swayed the team fight back in their favor. If he doesn't hit that execute, then the rest of Trifecta just run wild.
And Best has finished the Doom Orb. When he back to get that second relic, he got a Doom Orb as well. A little bit later than you see most Doom Orbs finished. Many mid laners would like to finish that first item to get stacking pretty quickly, but at this stage of the game, Scylla insta clears the wave anyways with Crush, so those stacks should be going up pretty quickly. We mentioned the lead for Snoopy in that dual lane, but gotta mention the lead for Best in the mid lane as well. Should be close to level 13, whereas Hurriwind just now hitting level 11, and AI gonna try and use this opportunity to take it away from Snoopy, not finding anywhere near that dual lane, instead forcing it on this right side on the Portal Demon.
Already regaining its health beyond that 50% health marker. Great rotation from both Hurriwind and Kiki just to show presence and not committing to the patience out of Trifecta, recognizing that AI was peeling back off of it. Just because you see a team doing an objective, if it's not beyond that kill threshold, you don't have to commit all your forces. Just wait it out.
Snoopy and XenoTronics playing a little bit of ring around the rosy. Ricochet misses from Xeno, as does the Root. And now Snoopy's going to be able to put out a lot of damage here. Heal comes through after the Terra's Blessing from Eonic. 4 instances of damage, so Snoopy gets healed up. Kiki keeping Divios and Elchapo out from the mid lane. So the red buff is once more the focus. Crush not going to find a mark, but the blue buff goes down. Cynosure blinks in, but misses the ultimate, and now it's Trifecta on the retreat.
Just through traffic, caught in the middle lane where everyone was on the sides, but all the damage from both Hurriwind and Cynosure was still evident. The whole idea from Trifecta is to force these teamfights around red buff and find the ring
2
bounces.
in the cage on the top left Harpies, and now Hurrowind's going to rain down the damage. Snoopy's going to find Aror. Divios up and over the wall with the Mystic Rush, so only Aror to fall, but now Snoopy trying to cut off XenoTronics' escape path. Stellar Burst not quite in range. Another beautiful cage from Kiki, and Trifecta turn their attentions to the Gold Fury. Only XenoTronics here, and no ultimate available either.
He does have the Ricochet though. They need to be able to zone him out. Cynosure not going to connect on the Sash, but XenoTronics is going to be like, okay, enough's enough. I will not sacrifice myself for this objective. Heading into the 15-minute mark now with this Gold Fury, Trifecta slowly building upon a 3,000 gold lead.
Another objective goes their way. That's been the real difference maker. These 2 Gold Furies for Trifecta so far. That fight looked like it should have gone Team AI's way, Tully. I mean, Cynosure missed the ultimate. That's usually what it comes down to with Naja. Did we hit the ultimate? Yes, we win the team fight. Did I miss the ultimate? Yes, we lost the team fight because of it. But Kiki comes in with a big cage, and Hurriwind putting out plenty of damage on that soul.
There was 2 factors in that team fight that swayed it for Trifecta's favor. Now, despite missing the Naja ultimate, before the engagement even really happened, Cynosure threw those ring bounces off the red buff, just a big ogre to ensure all the bounces everywhere else onto AI. And not only that, found it later on again after missing the ultimate. With the damage from Hurriwind on the soul, there was just too much poke damage onto TheBest. He had to disengage, and without your mid-mage on the Scylla that has this 2-level lead, you're basically fighting 4-on-5, and you want no part of it.
Yeah, Hurriwind did a great job of poking out TheBest to start that engagement. Could have actually killed him with that Supernova, but I don't think he knew exactly how much damage he was going to do to TheBest in that scenario, or he wasn't in range, one or the other. But Hurrowind's had a really strong game on this Soul, by far the highest player damage so far, and that's not too much of a surprise. I mean, Soul just does damage better than a lot of other characters in the game, but without having, you know, a big level lead or anything like that, only with that Bancroft's talent completed as well, he's still putting out quite a bit for being where he is in terms of farm.
As a Soul player, I mean, you can't really miss your Stellar Burst in these team fights whenever everyone is clumped up. You're almost guaranteed to hit at least 3 of those tanky targets, but Portal Demon from Trifecta, at least they respond here yet again with another objective. That small little window is all they need to run away with it.
Snoopy get an ult to try and keep XenoTronics off of his tier 1 tower and left, but Kiki's here as well. Exactly. Snoopy just going to play it patient, wait for that dive bomb to come through from Xeno. There it is, and immediately Snoopy answers with the landing. Aurora's here in time to give him Xeno the shield when necessary, but Kiki's going to lock in 4 in that little tiny corridor. Kiki is not going to get bursted down. Hurriwind's going to find Xeno. Chapo forced to escape as well. Aurora now on the run. Another beautiful cage from Kiki sets up Trifecta for a double kill. 4 for Snoopy, 4-0 and 2 for the Hunter. And now Trifecta looking at this tier 1 tower in mid.
Great patience from Kiki, saving onto his shield, knowing he was going to get bursted down after the fact.
Oh,
and
Cyno again with another Blink ultimate. See you later, TheBest. No chance to use a relic. That's what makes Naja so strong. No response there out of Team AI's mid laner. That opens up the door for another 1,500 gold Trifecta's way.
Despite missing that previous ultimate from Cynosure around that red buff, he finds the Blink ultimate onto an unexpected best. Easy, clean kill here. Now without this level 14 Scylla for another 15 seconds, they're going to be able to snag away this tier 1 tower on the left. Looking like they were thinking about going for the tier 2 there. You can clearly tell as they go back and forth, like, hey, are we doing this? We're doing this? Yeah, no. Like they were like 50% torn on that one.
I don't mind the call to back up in that scenario. And excuse me for a moment, I gotta pull out an F dot here. I just love Naja. I love watching this character. I mean, we saw the amazing play from Cynosure earlier on the bottom right side Harpies where he immunes the Cataclysm with the Sash. The Blink ultimates. It's just a character that is skill dependent.
And that's what makes him so rewarding to play. Just finding a kill as a Naji, taking one into the sky, DBZ style almost, combating that god, and then you find the kill after the fact, which is why this is probably one of my favorite gods to play as well.
Yeah, so much fun. One of the characters that really got me hooked on this game very early on. That ultimate is just it's flashy. And I gotta say, that's what I like about this character. Again, and going back to the skill base as well. 8-3, Trifecta in the lead, in large part due to the play out of Hurriwind and Cynosure, but you gotta give it again to Snoopy on this Apollo, who was just ran the dual lane in this set. That's been the real big difference to me. Still, 3 levels over top of Xeno.
And I'm seeing flashes of the old XenoTronics that's not necessarily too cocky, but trying to prove a point here. He really wanted to get that tier 1 tower on the left-hand side, but he's not respecting the global pressure here coming out of Snoopy, though. A lot of damage, though.
Chapo trying to fight in the mid lane. Eonic pops that ultimate. Cynosure is going to let Chapo go, but no letting go for Aror. He's locked down in that cage. He's the only one. 3-man Cataclysm there, buys him a moment. Good damage coming out of Hurriwind, and there comes the Stellar Burst. Supernova combination. Hurriwind's going to find the kill onto Aror. Kiki's 1 HP. Divios finally going to be able to finish him off, but Snoopy has arrived. Still full HP. Chapo doing his best and knocks up Cynosure right after the blink. Chapo doing his best to juke everything out and is doing a good job of it. Finally gets stunned down, and Cyno's going to find that kill onto his long-time oppositional jungler. Divios and XenoTronics still healthy enough to try and put some pot shots into Trifecta, but it's not going to matter. 2 for 1 in Trifecta's favor.
But the timing of the two for 1 helping Trifecta secure another Gold Fury potentially. This Soul Apollo combination just absolutely melts objective. Look at the build coming out of Snoopy here, having Chinsai's Executioner, Shifter Shield. This Apollo will just destroy everything in its path.
Plenty of penetration and attack speed. No Odysseus bow for him this time around, but you're absolutely right. Naja also an excellent objective burner, especially with Cynosure leveling that Flaming Spear as we saw a second ability to get that extra attack speed. Root onto Snoopy, gonna use that Serenade to create some distance, but Kiki teleports in that backside, has that cage, and is gonna lock into Xeno and Aror. Trapped. Divio's gonna jump in and try and help out as Xeno and Divios trying to box into Snoopy. He's the focus here. Ega's gonna buy him a moment as Xeno falls to Cynosure, and Divios is trying to find Snoopy, but all of Trifecta just pile in on top of their Hunter and give him the peel he needs. No ultimate for Divios, no life for Divios. Cyno with his 5th, evening up his kills with that Hunter Snoopy, and now Trifecta again turn towards the Gold Fury.
Very safe play to go for the Gold Fury. I almost thought that they would go straight for the Fire Giant with a 5-on-3 advantage, but having to respect the Scylla, a monster play potential to steal. Snoopy will transition over to the right-hand side, though. Portal Demon will respawn momentarily here, and as long as Trifecta have vision around this Fire Giant, they could easily zone out AI and secure this one.
Yeah, as you mentioned, they just go right for the Fire Giant. Wanted to get the Gold Fury first, but not going for the Portal Demon. Scratch that. They will instead decide to go for the safer call in this scenario.
With Best right around that corner, it's not really worth it to go for this big game objective here, especially with Aror potentially disrupting you. Supernova even being used just for good measure.
No CDR there for Hurriwind, but that isn't the longest cooldown in terms of ultimates, just making sure that it isn't going to get stolen by a stray 3 or a knock-up from Aror. So good plays there out of Trifecta, who have looked very clean. 12 kills on the board for them, 22 minutes in, nearly a 10,000 gold lead. Keep an eye on Cynosure and Snoopy. Those are the two who have been making plays all game long.
Best isn't here to be able to steal away this one. It's all up to Divios and Aror on the backhand side, though. Chapo's wrapping around. Fire Giant does get leech, but it's Kiki keeping Chapo busy.
Chapo gonna hop up over the wall, just uses a distraction. Divios gets locked in the cage, but does have his ultimate to get out anytime he wants, but Saido's gonna blink past and find Chapo with that ultimate. Divios and Snoopy are gonna put him down, crashing down from the ground. Chapo the first one to fall. Now Aror and Divios are pincered, sandwiched in between all of Trifecta. 5-man Cataclysm usually get on the highlight reel. That one will not, at least for Team AI. Could be on Trifectas as they find 2 more. Now 10 kills up over Team AI. This time around, I don't think they're leashing away this Fire Giant.
Not at all, especially with the best nowhere in position, despite having on a monster. Surprisingly that he didn't go for this one, but either way, a clean steal, not a steal, rather a secure coming out of Trifecta at the 23-minute mark.
And Trifecta's just done such a good job of keeping the best out of these fights. I don't know the last time the best used his ultimate. It may have been 6-7 minutes ago at this stage. Best known for being one of those mid laners that isn't gonna just throw that away every single team fight. He wants to find the right opportunity to use it and just hasn't been able to, in large part because of how aggressive Trifecta's been positioning.
But he's also having this do more of it fully finished, fully stacked up, and surprising to see not any sort of possibility for him to position himself in such a manner. This is a relatively easy thing for him to steal away. There's no ultimate here on the side of Trifecta to really match the ultimate out of the best.
That's true. Kiki gonna use his cage to make sure that he's gonna be able to get out okay. Plenty of CDR there for Kiki, 20% from the Breastplate of Valor, and even without it, I mean, that Odin cage, one of the shorter ultimate cooldowns in the game.
Absolutely. It's originally 75 seconds without any sort of CDR, and then having that Breastplate of Valor is going to shave off 15 seconds from it. So having it up every single minute, and without a Phantom here on the side of AI compared to last game, this just makes it so much more useful for Kiki.
I mean, everyone on AI can really get out of this Odin cage pretty easily. I mean, you're looking at Divios has to use his ultimate, yes. Auror's not going to be able to get out, but Chapo, TheBest, and XenoTronics all have leaps, but Kiki's been so patient, waiting for the right opportunities. Very similar to how Hades has to be patient with his ultimate to make sure the escapes are down to get the full effectiveness. Kiki's done a great job of doing that in this one.
It's kind of an effect where Cynosure, he'll look for a potential stun opportunity or a ring bounce, and because he is just too far forward and aggressed on, that's going to determine the escapes being used from AI. And once those escapes are down after Cynosure forces it, Kiki's going to be able to capitalize.
Hurriwind and Snoopy trading that tower aggro for a moment, but eventually will knock down that tier 2 tower. That means that all the tier 2 towers are gone for Team AI's map, and they've got to worry about their Phoenixes now. And you really have to worry whatever you're worried about an Apollo and a late game Soul who has that Obsidian Shard. Plenty of damage onto these structures. And oh yeah, Trifecta has Fire Giant too.
Well, this 5-man unit from Trifecta going down the left-hand side. Aror taking a bit of damage. Divios jumping on in. Supernova just to zone out XenoTronics. Best is still lingering around, waiting for that right moment to jump in.
Not all bad there for Team AI. Hurriwind did use the ultimate. Plenty damage onto Snoopy. In fact, he's going to have to Aegis instead of taking that crush damage from TheBest. Still has his purification beads though, but Trifecta's used enough to where they feel a little bit less comfortable sieging down this left side. Good defense from Team AI.
Old school Zadman status right there, leading a Phoenix Siege as an Apollo by himself.
That's right, against some of Zadman's old former teammates, Aror, TheBest, and Divios. Apollo just makes you want to do that, man. He just makes you want to be in the front line.
You just feel invincible because the way his kit works, you have so many defensive options alongside of being able to dash in aggressively. You have that nice clutch mez that also will not only stop those channeling abilities, but give you those protections to be able to survive a little bit longer in some of these team fights.
Okay, so why haven't we seen Apollo in Season 4? I mean, he's good right now, right? I mean, he's got good clear. His late game is absolutely insane. He's got a global ultimate as a hunter. plenty of defensive options, as you mentioned. Why haven't we been seeing him?
So if the Apollo goes neutral and doesn't get ahead in the early game from any invades, like such as Kiki has been helping them out with, and this Death's Toll Bombus Master start coming out of Snoopy, then he will get outboxed every single time against a lot of these other hunters.
Divios forced to use his ultimate to get away, but Cynosure follows him with the blink. No ultimate, though. TheBest up into that I'm a Monster, but no targets are low. Snoopy's going to find it onto Aror, and Hurriwind finds Divios too quickly for Trifecta. Cynosure is going to miss the ultimate. Elchapo putting some pressure onto him, but Best is getting chased down. Another kill goes Snoopy's way. 8 in total for him. Hurriwind finds Chapo on the backside with the help of Cynosure. Only Xeno left alive. Not for long. He's going to jump away. Will escape actually towards his fountain, but Trifecta looks likely to take game number 2.
It's only XenoTronics up here. Kiki was looking for the bird bomb potentially here. It's going to get started out by Hurriwind as they start sieging down this Titan room. Aror making the revive. He needs to find something.
Trifecta still looking at the Titan. Plenty of damage onto it. The bird bomb's right there, and that's going to be enough. Trifecta find 3 points up against Team AI in pretty clean fashion here, Tolly.
Just slow and methodical. Every little calculating play coming out of AI between the Gold Furies, the invades. Sloppy start coming out of Kiki, I would say, in terms of just getting abused in the early game, but this allowed Snoopy the same strength and advantage over XenoTronics, which seemed to be the goal coming out of Trifecta.
Yeah, I mean, Trifecta definitely had a set game plan, and it was get Snoopy ahead. And as you mentioned, they put him on a god that you can really get ahead and do a lot on that Apollo. Good plays out of Kiki as well. I mean, going for this early invade on the left-hand side, taking away those minis, again, all in the name of getting Snoopy ahead, but those mid to late game team fights as the Odin, not always easy. You know, a lot of people say, oh, you press 4 and there's your cage, but if you miss a cage and it's not as impactful and you only catch 1, that can really mess up an entire team fight for you.
And we saw just how patient Kiki was with some of his cages. His rotations were also on point, being able to rotate towards the left-hand side when XenoTronics was just too far out of position looking for that tier 1 tower. Divios made that same mistake on the right-hand side in game number 1, and then Xeno did it on the left.
Team AI is very clearly, to me, just a team that's still working through the kinks. They're still working for whatever they're trying to make their play style, and they just haven't quite found it quite yet.
That bluestone at the last possible moment. That's just one of the worst feelings in Smite, that you're like, I'm out, I'm out. Bluestone last tick, I'm not out.
Especially when you got it double stacked from that bird bomb. 2 abilities means 2 ticks of that bird bomb all the time. Trifecta looks strong, and as we mentioned, this is basically what was needed from them in order to keep their Valencia hopes in a good spot.
Between Luminosity, Monkey Madness here, there's a lot of these teams in North America that are so close, even Team Allegiance sitting high up in the standings, that are just inching their way closer to that Valencia spot.
I mean, these teams all very, very close together, as you mentioned. Game 2 and Game 1, plenty of Snoopy action on this Apollo. Again, this is a guy that I wanted to see a little bit more from Trifecta, and certainly made it happen this time around.
I mean, the way he just even started the game here with that Bombus mask, he's able to just look for any sort of opportunity here to get that level 1 advantage and then just start bullying out XenoTronics completely.
A really strong play out of this long-time duo lane. Eonic and Snoopy, one of the most storied duo lanes in the history of competitive Smite, and really fun whenever they're clicking on all cylinders as they are right now. Big reason why they're clicking in my mind, Tolly, is this new addition to the solo lane. Kiki has really started to mold into this team a little bit better, and I think we actually have him on the line here for an interview. Kiki, you there?
Oh.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey,
How
what's up? Pretty sad I didn't get to play my females, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, but we could make an Odin, like, female skin for you. Like, could probably, like,
really?
make that happen. Yeah, I mean, why not?
I'd be happy.
We do anything.
So, Kiki, tell me about this team, Trifecta. I mean, you guys had a little bit of a struggle towards the beginning, probably underperformed in your own minds, but starting to get ramped up a little bit here. How are you and the team feeling?
We're feeling pretty good. We just, like, last week, was it last week? Was it this Sunday? I don't really remember.
I was on vacation. I can't answer.
We ran into something new, and, you know, like, it takes you back. Like, if you watch the, this Obey versus Rival, like, 10-minute surrender, you know, right? Like,
yeah,
that's this season. But there's so many scenarios in which you can play a little better. I'm sure Rival feels the same way. So now that we're learning, we're clicking, I think that, you know, we'll be in Valencia.
So you were playing this Odin in both games here, definitely going for a utility style. Talk to me about the way you started, because to me it's like, all right, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me. Did you expect AI to really punish you that second game?
It was it was really funny because Aror was stopping my TP. I don't know if you guys noticed, but yeah, he was saving his Geb knockup for my TP, and that's why I ended up missing like 4 creeps, which is the big reason why I was so behind.
Yeah, tough. I mean, but Snoopy played so well, I suppose, on that left-hand side that
if it gets him ahead, I mean, I think it was worth it.
Absolutely. And as you said right there that you expect to be in Valencia, what are the things, I mean, teams usually say we just need to do this a little bit better. What's the big difference maker been as you've moved on during the summer split to play a little bit better, and what do you need to continue doing in order to make Valencia?
I think we just need to figure out like how to farm more efficiently. Sometimes a team will have more pressure, so you have to give up something, but as long as you're getting a little something, then it's okay.
And this team is just so full of veterans. Is it nice to be on a team with guys that you've seen around the scene for so long, and you know you got your one guy Cynosure that's still a little bit new to the SPL? How's your team dynamic?
Like in how we work together?
Yeah, I mean, like what's the team environment like? The comms, the you know, you guys just interacting with each other during the games.
Yeah, if I'm being honest, I never really like hung out with that much. But surprisingly, they're all like really funny. They're all like really cool. So we ended up clicking well. Like after 2 weeks, like I felt like I was just, you know, one of their friends.
Sure. Well, congratulations, Kiki, on the 2-0 victory today. You got any shout outs before we let you go?
Yeah, shout outs to my team for giving me a shot, and shout outs to Trifecta for picking us up.
The new organization for this veteran team. Congratulations, Kiki. Thank you so much for joining us. That's it for set number 2. It's Trifecta taking the 2-0 over Team AI. We're going to go to a quick break, but we'll be right back with more SPL.